Welcome! We're jumping right into things today. I've sketched out my idea, and do you see the darker outline of the birds? That's what I'm going to cut out of black cardstock. This is an off-white circle for the moon, and here are my bird cutouts. And since I have a light box, I'm going to go ahead and use it so I can place the birds the way I've sketched. I was hoping to use my fine-tipped glue bottle, but I could not get the glue to come out. I squeezed really hard, stuck a straight pin through the nozzle. None of it worked, so I used my trusty toothpick and smeared a thin layer of glue on the birds and glued them down. I liked this project a lot, but I admit this was not my favorite part. I've done outlines before, and maybe that made me overconfident. It takes a bit more patience to get the outline shaped just right, which I was not able to do. Ha ha. Example? I did not intend for the beaks to touch. Whoops. I wish I had been a bit more careful with that tricky head area, but sometimes we just gotta roll with these happy accidents. I actually love the way it all turned out, so I can't complain too much, but I do suggest taking things nice and slow with this outline and being okay if things don't end up exactly as you planned. And guess what? Sometimes mistakes can be fixed with creative solutions. And back to the light box to get the branches in place. This branch here is a little different. Since it goes beyond the moon, I'm only gluing down half of it. The other half I'll glue down at the same time I glue the moon onto the background paper. My background paper is super opaque, and there's no way I could have seen through it to see the sketch, so that's why it's not on there already. Sad to say, more glue bottle problems. The glue was coming out, but only just barely. And it took so long to get that scarce amount that it just was not sticking well. So I began mildly freaking out and switched to the Big Daddy bottle. I don't like doing it this way because too much glue can make the paper warp and wrinkle. But I was in a time crunch. Did the paper warp and wrinkle? Yes. Yes, it did. Especially around the perimeter of the moon. Even the thicker background paper warped a bit, so it didn't lay completely flat anymore. So I still recommend using the fine-tipped glue bottle if you can get it to work. If not, try to keep your head and don't use more glue than you need to. To make the leaves, I took a light green strip of paper. You can roll it with a slotted tool or however you feel comfortable. Let it open into a loose coil, glue shut, and then pinch one side to make a teardrop. And then I wrap that teardrop in a darker green. Flower petals are going to be the same process. You roll up your strip, make a loose coil, and then shape it into a teardrop. Now some of these I wrapped in this, actually most of these I wrapped in this light coral color, and a few I wrapped in a pink color. Okie dokie, time to glue. We've got our leaves, flower petals, more parts of the branch, and here's my lone scroll of the project. And that's really coming together. I like the way that looks. What I'm doing is adding some strips for the wings. You know how birds tuck their wings behind their back? I'm just putting in some simple lines to show that. Something like this. This black on black is the pits on camera. I'm so sorry. And here's a close-up. Maybe that will help show up those strips. So I've done these tight coils with no hole before, but I was using water at that time. This time I'm going dry. So you prep the whole strip by curling it with a quilling needle, and then prep the end even more with a couple hard curls to really soften it up. And I get a coil started with a straight pin. Then I back it up to the beginning, and with a tiny bit folded over, I smush and roll with my fingers. And then try again until I get it without a hole. The real name of this next skill is unknown by me, but I call it Tapered Strips. And these are really fun and really easy. Just cut a triangle off the length of the strip so you have a wide end and a skinny end. Now here I'm using my quilling needle, just really gently curling it just a bit. The tapering gives the feathers a nice, delicate look. I love it. A few more lines for the branch, and we're done. Super cute. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.